Hey guys, I am reading Blue Nights by Joan Didion. This book is not the book that I expected, or at least the contents that was being covered in this book is not something that I expected to read about, but it's very interesting and made me think a lot about the differences in parenting approaches between different generations, because our grandparents' generation, they were living in the war or when the world was not in a very stable political context, and because of that their main concern for their children would be to survive, and nobody would think a lot about, for example, mental health or trying to lead a very artful and diverse and creative life. Because of that, they were almost kind of like indifferent to their children, behaviors, well-being. And so because of that, our parents had more of a leeway and more freedom in experiencing life and experiencing how society was like. They could, drive, they could do drugs, they could do whatever they want without any restrictions coming from their parents. That generation, they grow up to become parents, which is like our parents. They are aware of that so-called indifference coming from their parents, so like our grandparents. They now become hypersensitive and hyper attentive to our doings and misdoing and misbehaviors. There's this one passage on page 98 that quote, "We increasingly justify such heightened involvement with our children as essential to their survival. We keep them on speed dial, we watch them on Skype, we track their movements, we expect every call to be answered, every change plan reported. We fantasize unprecedented new dangers in their every unsupervised encounter. We mention terrorism. We share anxious admonitions. It's different now, it's not the way it was. You can't let them do what we did, yet there are always dangers to children." That's hyper, even anxiety that our parents had, and I don't know, that's just very interesting to me. And all because of that, on that point, I was like, then how can we measure or how can we define what a successful parent entails? Because both generations, they were so-called good parents for their time. So yeah, lots of different interesting themes about parenthood, and specifically just like questions about raising a child, and very philosophical questions on what if I don't love the child. Adoption was also mentioned. I'm like that much into the book, like a bit over halfway through the book, and so far so good.